And then in the next segment, we will take your calls, because this one's a big one. You know, I covered earlier on the Alex Jones show, if you missed it, that the CIA back in 1971 released the swine flu. I'm sorry, the African swine virus. The only difference between that and the swine flu is that you can't have pig-to-human transmission. But again, this is almost 40 years ago. But the government's good. They never do anything like this. And what they did is they weaseled it all throughout Cuba, including Guantanamo Bay. And then they released it. They had to destroy, I think, their entire pig crop. It was something like 500,000 pigs. I got to find that story in front of me. It was and by the way, this was published 7 years later in the San Francisco Chronicle, and the legwork, I think, was done by New York Newsday, a fine publication, one of the better publications. New York Newsday doesn't get the national recognition it really needs to. I hope it's around for quite some time because, again, we don't really have a great media system in this country, if you haven't noticed. Here is the article right here. Let's see. It went through unmarked containers at Fort Gulick, an Army base in the Panama Canal Zone. Then was taken to Navassa Island, Boca de Toro, Panama. Taken to Cuba, given to other operatives on the southern coast near the U.S. Navy base at Guantanamo Bay in late March, and then released. You know, I mean, the CIA releases bioweapons in the 70s, but they'd never do it again. Never do it again. Yet we have this Bloomberg article now. The World Health Organization is investigating a claim by an Australian researcher that the swine flu virus circling the globe may have been created as a result of human error. Remember, it's always accident. If it looks like it comes out of a lab, it has to be a boo-boo, a mistakey. It can't be, oh yeah, by the way, we did this, and we want to see how the public would react, and we wanted to stir up fear, even though they, I mean, it's unbelievable. They have this huge World Vaccine Congress. Remember, 3 weeks ago, we saw the swine flu. Magically, this World Vaccine Congress is on April 20th to the 23rd. And it has GE, BD Medical, PAL Life Sciences, Crucial, Synco, Millipore, Health Protection Agency, CSL Biotherapies, Quintiles, Radiant, basically all of Big Pharma. All of Big Pharma getting together just at the time of a new pandemic. And covers like this one, Fear and the Flu, where this woman actually gets up on the Colbert Report and says, the swine flu came from the United States, but it wasn't made in a lab. If you believe it was made in a lab and the government did it, you also believe the Jews must have done it, a.k.a. the Jews. It's not really clear. And by the way, Lou Dobbs is a racist, and I hate him. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. And now Adrian Gibbs, who's 75, he collaborated on research that led to the development of Roche Holdings AG's Tamiflu drug, intends to publish a report suggesting the new strain may have accidentally evolved in eggs scientists used to grow viruses and drug makers used to make vaccines. Gibbs said he came to this conclusion as part of an effort to trace the virus's origin by analyzing its genetic blueprint. One of the simplest explanations is that it's a laboratory escape. Oh, so that would make sense, huh? You're telling me this would be very easy if it was a laboratory escape. It came out of a lab. So it's not only possible, it's probable, according to this guy. The World Health Organization received the study last weekend and is reviewing it. Gibbs, so they've known about this since last weekend. Gibbs, who has studied germ evolution for 4 decades, he's one of the first scientists to analyze the genetic makeup of the virus that was identified 3 weeks ago in Mexico and threatens to touch off the first flu pandemic since 1968. And again, you know, we played you the clip last night of Meredith Vieira telling you that the Obama administration may want mandatory vaccinations. Let me say it again. Mandatory vaccinations for the entire country. A 3-shot. A 1, a 2, a 3. To protect us from the flu virus. And remember, they went all the way up to pandemic level 6. They had to change the definition of the word pandemic. Literally changed it. on the WHO's website so they could go to pandemic level 5 and say, hey, it really looks like we're going to level 6. Level 6 means quarantines, no human rights, mass vaccinations. Maybe we'll just put in Executive Order 13375. And if we do that, well, then if you don't want to take the vaccine, you can do a year in prison or a $250,000 fine. But that's, if we don't shoot you in the back during the quarantines. Because, again, you have no individual human civil rights. Now, let's say this, again, this is Bloomberg, the same people that reported that Baxter had sent out a batch of vaccines to 14 separate countries with live bird flu virus, 2 different types, and a live human flu in them, killed a ferret. So this is somewhat mainline. This is obviously today's report. Let's see if it's picked up anywhere. Let's see if we see it on the news. The more you don't see this on the news, the more you know it's correct. And if you do see it on the news and they continue to play up the angle, oh, laboratory escape, big accident, very sloppy, these scientists. I can't believe they would allow this to get out. Well, then that's kind of damage control. They know it's going to get out. But I don't know how, again, how is it even, again, you got the Indonesian foreign health minister saying, yeah, looks like Western governments are manufacturing this stuff and releasing them. And then they've done it in the 70s to Cuba. And I report on it. But I must be crazy. We'll be back after this with your phone calls. It's 866-582-9933.